Good morning. Welcome to the First Religious Society Unitarian Universalist in Newburyport, Massachusetts. My name is Stephen Will Foster, and I have the privilege of being your worship associate for this service this morning. If you're visiting us here at FRS today and joining us for the first time, special welcome to you. Those online can find this morning's order of service via a link just below the live stream window. FRS is a spiritual community overflowing with ways to get involved and get to know people. Please take a moment to look through your order of service booklet to see activities for the week. Be sure to sign up for our weekly Steeple newsletter on the website if you haven't already. Please join us next Sunday after the service downstairs in the lower meeting house for our Passion Action Fair. Teams and committees and interested groups will have tables set up with information and volunteers so you can learn more about what they do and how you can get involved with them. Please also let Cynthia Walsh know if your group wants to have a table at the Passion Action Fair. Also, you are invited to join with us for a theatrical presentation, representation, and how to get it here in the sanctuary today at 1 o'clock after our service. I had the privilege of being an usher for that last night, and I really enjoyed it and learned something. So now, let us settle into worship. We are gathered each Sunday committed to love and peace and justice. Our mission and our invitation today and every Sunday is come as you are, journey together in love, act with courage, transform our world. Thank you. It's good to be together with you.
It is indeed good to be together. Our call to worship this morning are words from physicist Brian Greene. And he writes, "We are ephemeral. We are evanescent. Yet our moment is rare and extraordinary, a recognition that allows us to make life's impermanence and the scarcity of self-reflective awareness the basis for value and a foundation for gratitude. The clarity we gain from exploring the cosmic timeline reveals that having any sense of perdurable legacy is out of reach. But that very same clarity underscores how utterly wondrous it is that a small collection of the universe's particles can rise up, examine themselves and the reality that they inhabit, determine just how transitory they are, and with a fitting burst of activity, create beauty, establish connection, and illuminate history. And we are those particles. You are joyfully called to worship. Let's rise and embody our spirit and join in our opening hymn, number 21 in the Gray Hymnal, For the Beauty of the Earth. seated.
Please join us in our chalice lighting as Pat lights the chalice. The words can be found in your order of service. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
Thank you to the wonderful members of our green team who are lighting our chalice and candles of peace this morning. Each week when we come together for worship, we light 2 candles of peace. These represent 2 places on earth that we remember as a sacred encounter with our world. There are untold numbers of places on earth that need peace. These 2 we hold close, especially in this service and through the week ahead. Our first candle this morning is lit for the fall equinox that was yesterday for the northeastern beautiful countryside of which we are so gifted to live. We light this candle for Mother Earth, for her trees, for all the signs of autumn that remind us of the gifts and the beauty that surround us. And to this we respond, peace, soul, shalom. Our second candle this morning is lit for the entire country where we are honoring and celebrating National Hispanic Heritage Month. It is honoring the culture and the contributions of both Hispanic and Latino Americans, and the heritage that is rooted in all Latin American countries. To this we respond, peace, soul, shalom. I'm very sorry. You may have noticed we've changed and we're singing a hymn earlier, and I haven't yet adjusted these words. So this says, please remain standing. However, you're not standing. So why don't we rise in body or in spirit? We're going to join our voices in our affirmation of faith, followed by the doxology. This morning, however, I want to draw to our attention that in honor of our ministry theme of interconnectedness, and this morning's message of reciprocity, we will be changing the phrase in the affirmation of faith from to serve humankind in fellowship to serve all of creation in fellowship, which of course is humans and all else that is our shared creation. Please join. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve all of creation in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God. Please be seated. At this time, I'd like to invite forward all of our children and youth. We have a very special guest and story. What is the buzz around FRS? So we invite Lance Heidi as well. Come on, children and youth, come forward. I see you. Thank you, Julia.
Well, hello. It's wonderful to be invited here this morning to talk to you all about insects. When I was 12, my parents bought a tent, and the three of us, I was an only child, began taking summer vacations to camp beside the Metolius, a fly fishing stream in central Oregon. You could say that the Metolius was my parents' church, a holy place. They didn't have to explain it to me. Even at age 12, I could see the profound beauty and mystery of this watery, green place, teeming with life, flowing through meadows and ponderosa pine forests. While I was interested in the chipmunks that were begging for peanuts, to my surprise, Dad was more focused on bugs. He explained that these aquatic insects, mayflies, caddisflies, and stoneflies, were the food that the trout ate. These beneficial bugs also gobbled up all the gunk on the stream bed to keep the water clean. These insects were out in the greatest numbers in July, which was, of course, when we went camping. Unlike typical parents, mine planned our vacations to coincide with peak insect activity. Dad showed me that trout streams were wild communities, built and maintained not by humans, but by all the plants and animals that live there, going back to times before humans walked the earth. He taught me that the animals who were the most numerous and hardworking were the insects. They cleaned up the decomposing plant and animal materials in the water and on the forest floor. They pollinated the flowers and were food for the trout, birds, frogs, and little mammals like bats and chipmunks. They even provided food for each other. My dad taught me how to make an artificial trout fly using silk thread to tie fur and wire around a very tiny steel hook, finishing it off with 2 wraps of a soft hen feather to make a little collar that to a trout would look like moving wings and legs. When Dad used his fly rod to cast his homemade trout fly out into the stream, it moved and looked like a living mayfly or caddisfly. It was his way of saying to the trout and to all the other creatures living there, "I understand you and appreciate you." An early advocate of catch and release, his fish were returned to the water unharmed. So, after this trout stream education, for the rest of my life, wherever I went, insects attracted my attention. They are astonishing. I respect them, and I have read many books about them. So it shouldn't be a surprise that in July last year, I became fascinated by the wasps that I saw going in and out of the holes between the old bricks in front of our church. Photographs that I made of our church wasps at that time are in the flyer that was handed out this morning and is also available online along with today's order of service. Our solitary digger wasps are called smoky-winged beetle bandits. They do not sting. They will ignore you. They are too busy. Not today, they're finished with their summer work, but they are too busy building new underground nest chambers for their eggs, provisioned with yummy beetles, for the babies to eat, which at the same time helps to control the burrowing tree beetles that harm our city's trees. In the spring, if they are lucky, the wasp babies will emerge as full-grown adults. These wasp neighbors, our neighbors, like all insects, are dwindling in number. They need us to see them and to thank them for all that they do for us, and to stop using pesticides. Entomologists, the scientists who study insects, tell us many insect populations have dropped by half, and in some places by 3/4 or more. While climate change is a factor, the main causes are pesticides, the loss of habitat, and light pollution, are leaving outdoor lights on all night. Many neighborhood lawns are treated with chemicals to eradicate mosquitoes, ticks, and Japanese beetles. Unfortunately, these chemicals kill all the insects, even the beneficial pollinators and the beautiful butterflies, moths, and fireflies. This is why there is a movement to turn our yards into chemical-free zones. The no mow May idea is to let the dandelions, violets, and clovers bloom in our spring grass. Some of us are even digging up lawn to plant native wildflowers and shrubs to nourish the beneficial insects and to provide wildlife habitat. During the coming months, our Green Team will offer get-togethers where we can watch short videos, talk to each other, and maybe even swap seeds and plants. While taking positive action at home, we'll meet new friends and make our neighborhoods safer for all living things. If you are interested to learn more, the reverse side of the WASP flyer lists several books about the interconnected web of life that have inspired members of the Green Team. So, thank you all.
And now, please join us singing Go Now in Peace as the young children head downstairs for Young Church.
Thank you, Lance. I look forward to meeting my relations, the WASPs, at a near future date. No, I'm serious. Sometimes Renee's a little worried about me. I get bees crawling on me, and I get things, and I'm like happy as a clam. Enough about me. The generosity of our community is an essential ministry, and it supports the work of our church, both here in Newburyport and beyond. Each week, 50% of the Sunday offering, not designated as a pledge, goes to the local community partner engaged in important efforts to transform our region. September's shared collection will support the Jeannie Geiger Crisis Center. Every year, the center helps over 1,200 survivors of domestic violence, adults, children. In addition to your contribution, please consider participating in the Jeannie Geiger Crisis Center Walk Against Domestic Violence on Sunday, October 1st, from 8 to 11. You can sign up to walk with the FRS team on the Jeannie Geiger website. In a moment, the ushers will circulate through the aisles to receive your offertory gifts. If you wish to give online, you can use the link in your order of service or below the live stream window. And of course, you can always write a check and mail it to the church, or just hand it in. Thank you. The offering will now be gratefully received.
Each week, we pause to lift up the joys and the sorrows of our beloved faith community. This morning, Tom Himmel, our pastoral care associate, will be lighting candles as I share what has been sent to me in advance of today's service. This morning, we light a candle of love and concern for Heidi Gowan, who asks that you keep her in your prayers as she works hard to recover from a debilitating injury. Her faith keeps her hopeful for much-needed relief from some extreme chronic pain. We also light another candle of love and concern and community for PJ Goddard. Lee Pearson shares with us that as PJ was getting ready to leave Newburyport this summer to return to Hawaii, she found out that the love of her life, Kevin, had taken his own life. She's now back in Hawaii, but understandably bereft. She's lost not only the relationship they shared, but their home and the future that they had planned. She asks that people send her messages of hope and beauty and inspiration to remind her that there is beauty in this world. She would love to receive messages on Facebook, or if you want her email or want to know any more, you can speak with Lee Pearson. We light another candle of joy and loving support. Tom Himmel shares that his niece Robin, her husband Nate, and their new baby Kai live in Ohio. The baby Kai will need to remain in the NICU for a while, hopefully not more than a few weeks. Robin, the mom, has a history of high-risk pregnancies and 2 previous deliveries that were extraordinarily difficult, so thanks to medical science, this one did go better, and we still hold the family in our loving care and thoughts. We also light a candle of community and love for our middle and high school youth who are in Boston as I speak for the Crossing Paths program, learning about our Unitarian Universalist faith, visiting churches there, seeing some of the oldest buildings and congregations in our faith as they enter into a year-long exploration of world religions. And we light a candle of joy as Leslie Lipkin shares the happy announcement of the birth of her granddaughter, Asai. She just told me this, how to pronounce this, in June to her daughter, Jessica. And the meaning of this name, by the way, is healer in Hebrew, and is a beautiful baby. I saw a photograph. They're thriving in Oakland, California. Leslie will be happily visiting them every 3 months without fail. She says she's so very blessed to have this miracle baby in her life. And we light one final candle, as we do each Sunday, for all of the joys and all of the sorrows that, although unspoken, are held in just as much love and care. I invite us now into a spirit of centering, embodied contemplation, mindfulness, prayer. This morning, I'll invite us to do something a little different with this time, which is to actually either hear and receive the sound of a sung prayer, and maybe if you're so moved, to join in. And maybe if you're particularly brave, you may open your eyes and look at one another. The words are in your order of service, but again, take it in, listen, receive, and give. May it be so.
In this morning's reading, it's an excerpt from Returning the Gift by Robin Wall Kimmerer. We're showered every day with gifts of the earth, gifts we have neither earned nor paid for: air to breathe, nurturing rain, black soil. We have created a consumption-driven economy that asks, what more can we take from the earth? And almost never do we ask, what does the earth ask of us in return? I celebrate the implicit recognition of the earth's animacy, that the living planet has a capacity to ask something of us, and we have a capacity to respond. We are not passive recipients of her gifts. We are active participants in her well-being. We are honored by her request. It lets us know that we belong. In the teachings of Potawatomi ancestors, responsibilities and gifts are understood as two sides of the same coin. A possession of a gift is coupled with the duty to use it for the benefit of all. A thrush is given the gift of song, and so has a responsibility to greet the day with music. Salmon have the gift of travel, so they accept the duty of carrying food upriver. We carry gifts of our own, which the earth urgently needs. Among the most potent of these is gratitude. Gratitude may seem like a weak tea given the desperate challenges that lie before us, but it is a powerful medicine. Gratitude is founded on the deep knowing that our very existence relies on gifts of beings who do, in fact, photosynthesize. Gratitude propels the recognition of a personhood of all beings and challenges the fallacy of human exceptionalism, the idea that we're somehow better and more deserving of the wealth and services of earth than our other creatures. Indigenous story traditions are full of cautionary tales about the failure of gratitude. When people forget to honor the gift, consequences are always material as well as spiritual. The spring dries up, the corn doesn't grow, the animals do not return. The Western storytelling tradition is strangely silent on this matter, and so we find ourselves in an era when we are rightly afraid of the climate we have created. Gratitude is our first, but not our only gift. We are storytellers, music makers, devisers of ingenious machines. We are healers, scientists, and lovers of the earth, who ask that we give our own unique gifts on behalf of all life. Let us live in a way that Earth will be grateful for us.
Thank you, Stephen Wolf, and thank you, Lance. And thank you all for joining us this morning as we begin to go more deeply into interconnectedness. And I should warn us, though many of us already know this, that in opening our hearts and minds to the realities of interconnectedness and reciprocity with all beings and the earth, our hearts will break open. It's the good news and the hard news. Just the other day, I was walking somewhere and spotted a bee on a bud, on a blossom of a flower, and smiled. And I came back out from where I was, and I saw that the bee was still there. And then looked more closely and realized the bee was not alive. I may never know entirely, but more likely than not, it was consuming something that had been sprayed onto that flower that took its life. And that little bee has been with me along with all of you and my family and the people I love and care for in a real and profound way. This is the year for us to journey through the reality and truths of interconnectedness and interdependence. It's exciting and hopeful, and it can be overwhelming. It is time to learn about the FRS wasps who do not sting, and all kinds of other things. This is actually the first sermon, it's the third service of the church year, but the first sermon where I can offer my thoughts about what it takes for us to do this spiritual, theological, and moral work around interconnectedness. And aren't we fortunate to be with others who are doing the same? If we find it overwhelming in community when we are alone and separate, it is beyond overwhelming. I sincerely hope and pray that this year will be transformative for all of us. The world and our fellow creatures, humans, plants, animals, are crying for us to pay attention, learn, and grow. Albert Einstein once said that we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. That is an essential truth to remember as we embark on this work together. We must be open, be willing to learn, to see things differently. It's a gift to realize that we don't know everything, or perhaps that what we believed was true, and even the society at large believed was true at one time, we're recognizing is not. It's a gift to be given the opportunity to repair, to try again, and to learn together. Wasps are not the only thing that Lance brought to my attention. And I have his permission to share this, by the way, in case those of you with tender hearts are thinking, what is she doing? One day, Lance emailed me to share the discomfort that he was feeling with the language we said every Sunday in our traditional affirmation of faith. The phrase, humankind, to serve humankind in fellowship, was unsettling to him. And he wrote, are we only serving humans? It was a wake-up call. However, I wouldn't have woken up alone. I needed to see the words with his question that we say every week and think about their meaning, and to ask, how has this exclusive focus on humans in society worked so far? Author, scholar, and member of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation, Robin Wall Kimmerer, calls this anthropomorphic worldview the myth of human exceptionalism. This way of thinking views the world as a pyramid that's based on power over and control of others, other living beings, and resources. Humans are at the top of that pyramid, and implicit in that way of seeing the world is a belief that humans are different, higher up, better than other living creatures and life. It relegates nature to being something separate and distinct from us, and it negates the belief that all of creation has inherent beingness and associated rights. It also substantiates economies and lifestyles that are built on consumerism, me first, and overconsumption. Lance has created a beautiful brochure that you received when you came in this morning that explains this myth of human exceptionalism using the words and work of Robin Wall Kimmerer. And included in that brochure is an image of this pyramid with humans on the top. Alongside of that is another image, one of an interconnected circle, where humans are one among many of the interconnected web or circle of life. It's also on the cover of your order of service. And I just want to say, and I can't get too extemporaneous because I have a lot written down, but I want to say we exclude many people too. And this is a call for us to embrace and include all. Lance and the Green Team have generously made these pamphlets available to our church. They'll be in holders around the church. However, they've also begun to bring them into the community. They're being displayed or will be at the Tannery, the Audubon Center, Jalpa Flats, Heron Pond Farm, and we're thrilled that the community at large is excited with us and willing to help get the word out about the need for different and earth-based ways of understanding. I'm sure they'd appreciate your help with that initiative or any and all of their work. So beliefs of human superiority, and I should say particular humans' superiority, can be linked to ancient Greeks and Christianity. Presbyterian minister Craig Barnes writes about this when he reflects on the story of Adam and Eve eating the forbidden fruit. And he says, the old doctrine of the church refers not just to our primal disobedience to God's command, as some Christians understand it, it also means that by seeking the fruit of the garden for our own sake, we've pulled the spiritual out of it and made the world material. It's not only our original sin, he says, it is our continued addiction. Robin Wall Kimmerer offers a different way of understanding and relating to the world that is based on indigenous beliefs. Her work, along with many others, is essential to our spiritual, religious, and moral exploration of interconnectedness this year. Kimmerer presents critical concepts essential to responding in helpful ways to what scientists are calling the sixth extinction, wherein high percentages of distinct species of bacteria, plants, reptiles, fish, invertebrates, and more are dying out. They're dying out faster than they can be replenished. The statistics are staggering. World Wildlife Federation reminds us that our planet has experienced 5 previous extinction events. The last one, probably we all learned about in school, occurred 65.5 million years ago, which wiped out the dinosaurs from existence. I don't know about you, but I remember learning about that and learning that that was then. This is now. In the 1970s, as we literally threw trash out the windows of our car. The difference between the first 5 extinctions and the one that we're currently experiencing is that the earlier ones were caused by natural phenomena. This one is caused by human activity, primarily the unsustainable use of land, water, and energy use and climate change. The purpose of my sermon today is not to make us feel guilty or bad or overwhelmed. It is to allow our exploration of interconnection this year to actually offer hope, to focus on spiritual and moral solutions that are in keeping with Unitarian Universalist values and principles. We're here to support one another in learning how to respond to reality, to what is happening, so that we can respond rather than react, shut down, or panic. Because religion, particularly Christianity, from which our faith comes, is partially, if not largely, accountable for many of the false and faulty beliefs that have helped us get here, it is also religion's responsibility to help us find our way back to what indigenous peoples, nature, and our planet and animal kin have known for thousands of years is sustainable living. I can't go into depth about all of what is required to make these massive changes in one sermon. However, I can offer some key concepts, things we'll return to over the year ahead time and again. There are 2 words that I invite us to remember. If you leave today remembering 2 words, remember these. For they create and hold space for the concepts that I'm calling the spiritual and life skills necessary for thriving in an interconnected world. And those 2 words are reciprocity and rapture. Reciprocity, as we've heard from Robin Wall Kimmerer's words, and I'll say a little bit more about in a moment, is that of knowing that we live in an interconnected web of which we are a part that asks us to gratefully receive and gratefully return. Rapture is an acronym, in this case, for 7 key concepts and skills. It's also a reclamation and redefinition of a word that has been used by some evangelical religions since the 1830s to signify the coming together of believers with God in the afterlife. I love the idea of reclaiming its original meaning, which is to be filled with great joy and bliss here on earth in this life. So let's again briefly explore reciprocity. Indigenous people have always believed that we are interconnected members of existence. When we're given a gift, we are responsible to give a gift in return. This does not have to be to the same plant or animal or person who's given the gift, but return the gift we must if the earth is to continue thriving. And I want to share how foreign this is to me, as the person who was raised in the same worldview as many, if not most of you. I don't claim to understand how you were raised. However, as I've come to know and love Indigenous people who are still among us, the first time I was given a gift, I thought, wow, isn't that wonderful? And in the back of my mind, I thought, well, they must have just had this Christmas cactus. I don't know, and I don't know why they gave that to me. And the second time, and the third, and the fourth. And along the way, I realized, oh, every time we gather together, I will be given a gift. Oh. Oh. Kimmerer writes that we must recognize ourselves as only one member of the great democracy of species and understand that we, like every other successful organism, must play by the rules that govern ecosystem functions. The law of thermodynamics have not been suspended on humans' behalf. We cannot relentlessly take without replenishing. We participate in economies that appear to love profits for a few members of one species more than a good green world for all. We have a choice to invest, otherwise, our love and our gifts. We must align our economies with ecological principles and human integrity. For Kimmerer, this reciprocity begins with being in love with the world as we pay attention to and care for what we love. Doing so asks us to lay down beliefs that separate us from the world around us and to get to know the land we inhabit, its plants, animals, and people. We can start by getting to know names of people. Listen to what they ask you to call them. Names of plants, bugs, other parts of creation for which we share Earth. Kimmerer said in an interview I listened to, she couldn't imagine not knowing the names of plants and trees. It would be so lonely, she said. I learned scientists actually have a name for that. It's called species loneliness. And I wonder, perhaps this endemic of loneliness in our country has deeper roots than we recognize. She said names are the way that we humans build relationships, not only with each other, but with the living world. I invite us to learn the names. Reciprocity is a core concept we will learn more about and live in together. And there are other concepts as well, again, too many to go into in detail. So I decided to lay them out for you using this term, this acronym of rapture, by offering really a prayer, a poem, a blessing. All of these things will be interwoven throughout our year ahead. I'm happy to consider ways to do this as we learn together, again, contained in the acronym of rapture. And I'm going to close with this and ask that you just allow the words to wash over you. Don't try to write them down or remember them. Feel them in your body. Allow your mind and heart to be open. Give yourself 2 or 3 minutes with these closing thoughts. The rapture of interconnectedness. If we are to live knowing the interconnectedness and interdependence of which we are a part, may we learn to honor all beings, all people, all plants, animals, insects, bodies of earth, water, and the sky. As we receive and give in an endless circle of healing reciprocity, may we feel how this giving and receiving helps us to know ourselves and the rest of the natural world so much more deeply. May it bring us to new levels of bliss, joy, and rapture in response to what life offers us. As we see, feel, and accept the reality of what is before us, learn of its conditions and causes, may we choose humbly and wisely and be open to know more. May we live with appreciation, gratitude, awe. May we honor the mysteries of life as we learn the names of plants, creatures, and people we share this earth with. May our innate love for all living things grow until we are overflowing and open to returning the gifts that are given to us. Help us to maintain perspective, expand our worldview and ways of understanding, and reduce our sense of supremacy, dominance, anxiety. May we learn the essential art of self-awareness, spiritual maturity, and emotional regulation as we titrate between trying harder and knowing we are enough just as we are. When we are overwhelmed, may we breathe. When sadness crowds in, may we connect with others and laugh. When it's time to work, let us do so with integrity. And when it's time to rest, may we lay our work down. Help us accept that this will not be completed in our lifetime. And may we choose to do it for future generations. Unlock our minds from all we think we know and all we assume is certain. Unlock our hearts from weariness, cynicism, pain. Allow hope to grow in our minds and hearts. Let us honor our relationships with all creatures, human and otherwise, giving, receiving, and giving again, until there is no end and there is no beginning, until we are one. Keep us ever mindful of the keen need for genuine and far-reaching empathy, balanced with a right-sized view of ourselves as part of the world, not its entirety. May we choose to love the world. Remember, in the words of Helen Keller, radical woman that she was, when she learned to see the world, not through her sight of eyes, but by her teacher putting sign language into the palm of her hands, she said, "Once I knew only darkness, separation. My life was without past or future. But a little gesture from the fingers of another fell into my hand, clutched at that emptiness, and my heart leaped to the rapture of living." May it be so. Amen. Let's rise in body or spirit and join in our closing hymn, 318, We Would Be One. Let's join together in our unison benediction as Stephen Wolfe extinguishes the chalice. The words are in your order of service. May the love which overcomes all differences, which heals all wounds, which puts to flight all fears, which reconciles all who are separated, be in us and among us now and always. My friends, feel this interconnectedness of which we are a part, and leave not in despair, disgruntledness, overwhelm, sense of what is the use, but leave knowing that the answers are here. The answers have been known by indigenous people for so long. Scientists know the answers. The question today is not about what the answers are, but how will we choose to accept them? We here are blessed by this community, by the love and care of all of those around us. We are not alone. Go in hope, go in joy, go in peace. Give a gift and receive a gift. Name a bumblebee and come to love this earth. Go in peace, my friends. Return again in great joy. Amen and blessed be.